Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, happy Easter. Yeah, let's jump into it. Stocks are gapping up as of right now. So the market was closed on Friday. We are opening up. I know you can't see my charts. We're just gonna rock the intro. Wanted to say happy Easter, everybody. But the quick rundown, right? Stock market was closed on Friday. I think Powell said something. Must have been good. I can be honest. I didn't really pay attention to it. Um, I'm more focused on the reaction. And right now, the Sunday open is green. So things are at all time highs. Bitcoin, crypto, obviously never closed. It is up there. So let's turn and burn. I know you guys have some Easter dinner to get to. I know I personally do. If you could smell through the screen, I would smell like a fire burning right now from cooking the old fashioned way, not on gas. Let's go. Look at that dollar. You know, it'd be really sweet because I'm short the dollar right now. Let me show you guys what I'm short. US dollar, Japanese yen. You might think, how's that working out? I'll tell you, been short for some time now. We're just hanging out. Look at this nonsense. Um, if you don't see me live this next week, it's probably because my cell service just doesn't work in Japan. But I might have to fly, sail over there, do something. Let them know the market's open. So not much to break down there. Still short the dollar. I will say for those that this is a 9 EMA. Again, as far as like futures go, there's a conversation we had about around the 9 EMA. I absolutely hate that that's creeping up. But for the quick visual right here, guys, when I say stocks, when they push up, they pull over or they pull back. This is the push up. All right, now we can pull back, bounce off of that, push up, we pull over, and you hear me say on stream indicator. I don't actually look at them, right? I don't care. Some people do, cool. Um, but I say like, hey, we pull over, let those indicators cool off, let everything catch up. Maybe your RSI was a little hot right here, and then it goes sideways, and your RSI starts cooling down, and then all of a sudden you bounce off this. It's another clean trend play. What I'm hoping for is an absolute breakdown. But I gotta say, when we jump up and hit a zone like that, I'm short this. But if I'm teaching a lesson right now, jump up, I'm going short when it hits the zone like that. And if it bases out, I start to look for the continuation. You'll probably always short done. Let's see. Hang on. What stream are you moving to, Lori? Oh, hang on. Let me get you guys the correct one in the chat. Give me one hot second right here, real quick. Hang on. Sorry about that. All right, let's try that again. I actually do need people on this one. Delete. All right, we are back to good, right? You guys can hear me? Am I bullish on Ethereum? Well, if you follow the growth account, we have Ethereum. Yeah. Yeah, and I do like Bitcoin and Ethereum. This works. Wife loves when she can't hear my YouTube. Oh, talking about me being muted. Yeah, it's just my kids like when they know I'm live, they like creep in, and right now that door just squeaks, and then they just like it's they don't understand. It's like the loudest thing, but they know to be like quiet. They have no idea that the door is making that much noise. Drives me crazy when like you guys can hear background noise. I know, and every one of you guys said you don't care. I have 3 kids. Everyone knows it. I care. It drives me nuts. Um, all right. Yeah, and let me know real quick. Which one are you guys on? Which one did you get notified on? Are you on Power Zone Trading or Don Fron Trading? Nonetheless, let's get back to it. Yeah. Your kids are funny. Yeah. They actually are. All right. The dollar. So far, the open, absolutely nothing. Just kind of hanging out. Purple is a weekly zone. So seeing this, not really rejection. When we're looking at the weekly zone, that's what we're talking about. So we still have to wait till all of this week to see if we actually are rejecting or not. What is Power Zone? It was the channel that Brad and I were doing. Uh, and then I just kind of like, Brad, he just stops. He's just honestly, he's never consistent. I don't know what's going on. I haven't talked to him in a while. Done one. But I've always done things with other people. I like it with other people. I don't need to be a one man show, but nobody is as consistent as I am. So I brought it back to explain all the YouTube channels because I have Don Fron Show. Now there's Don Fron Trading, and then there's Power Zone Trading. And then like when Brad and I were going to merge, it looked like it was going to work out. Our schedules obviously didn't clash, but then it was just me doing everything because he just quit streaming. So then it was just that. So to make it consistent, everything I post will be on Don Fron Show or Don Fron Trading. Most of the time, it should be on Power Zone Trading, but it's hard to keep up, and that's why I hear you on it's hard to keep up. From now on, it'll be you have two channels. Don Fron Show was my main one, but because I want people to understand more about AI, I'm talking about AI. I'm talking about my investments on there, so it'll be still stock stuff on there. Longer term, it'll be AI news, AI investing, maybe some trades here and there, trading, going over the market, Sunday stock talks, everything will be on Don Fron Trading. Um, so anyway, if you want to quit playing the back and forth game, Don Fron Trading. It's not going anywhere. It's 100% me now, and that'll be it. AI is scary and makes your brain hurt. Okay, listen, I'm not going to go down an AI rant because I said this is going to be a quick one, but I genuinely, if on the YouTube, you guys might not know this as much. There's been so many times I've just been anxious. I'm talking anxiety, everything, not AI related, just 100%. I'm not feeling good. Like I've even started the streams off with, I might just freak out and go to the hospital. But then like talking to you guys, like this is actually just amazing. So that's why the streams a lot get a little ADD because I'm just hanging out with you guys talking. Yeah, I'm going over my opinion. I'll give you guys my opinion and answering questions. I love all that. But anyway, as far as AI goes, if you were to just hang it all up and say, Don, I think you're crazy, but I'm going to follow you anyway. I've said a lot of scenarios that are ripping the band-aid off, robots are here tomorrow kind of thing. And I do think Amazon's going to have them deployed at the end of this year, taking over their factory. Elon has talked about how his robot, his factories will be all robots by 2025. We used to think that was Elon being ambitious. Now it's just Elon's just on pace with everyone else. Everyone else is already beating. There's already the first humanoid robot was actually deployed in February, taking over a job. And from a greed and business standpoint, I don't see how companies will look at the numbers and think, I better keep some humans around. And a lot of you guys just keep saying, like, well, if they fire everybody, who's going to buy it? Let's just go over this. Okay, so if they replace everybody with robots, who's going to buy the stuff? Okay, now let's just take the Amazon worker. Let's just scan every one of them. And how many Amazon workers were part of the revenue for today's earnings? Give it the whole pay period. Okay, the whole pay period for an Amazon employee, how much did they buy? Did they spend their whole check there? Because that's how much they would have to spend. It still wouldn't make sense because they got to pay for taxes and everything for having those employees, the employee taxes when it breaks down. So maybe write-offs can break it even, but even then, nothing. Okay, so as a CEO and everything, I'm looking at the clipboard. Yeah, I lay off my whole entire team. They can't buy the Amazon products. And honestly, when you fire somebody, they're probably not buying your stuff anyway. How many times have I just imagine you get fired from McDonald's, so you don't eat there anymore, and you flip the building off every time you go by. McDonald's still makes money. Same with Walmart. It doesn't matter where you go, right? So a lot of it is what I'm thinking is, the other company will have to worry about that. I'm going to fire all these guys, and they're fine. My clientele is not my own employees. Might suck to hear, but I think a lot of companies are going to say that. That could be a huge problem when firing everybody at once, because if everyone's going to think That's their problem. Looking at my numbers, they're fantastic. There'll be a flash in the pan earnings because they're going to fire everybody, not have that on their bills, and their earnings are going to look absolutely phenomenal. But then if everybody does do that, that's when the crash does come. Uh, Now, those are kind of scenarios I have in my head, and that's why I'm investing in Google, Tesla, Enphase, Microsoft, Nvidia, Apple, Meta, Amazon, Palantir, and Crowd. That was the top 10 video we did. Um, my top 5 are in there, but obviously a little bit more allocated. Now, worst case scenario, that doesn't happen. Okay, you go all in these tickers, and robots don't take over tomorrow. Okay, do you know what's responsible for 50% of the stock market's growth? Just a couple of those that I listed off. I'm in giants, absolute giants, and we're in a tech world. So I don't see that going away. It's not like I'm investing in a newspaper. Okay. Google could be the next Yahoo as far as search engines go, but what they're doing with AI and what Yahoo didn't have was cell phones in everybody's hands, or, the poor people that have green text. Just kidding if you're on Android. But I don't think that's happening. So I think, in my opinion, you're probably going to be fine. Nvidia, I still think, is cheap after doing a deep dive into that. Cheap. And if Elon makes a $20,000 bot before everyone gets fired, they're buying one of those robots, and at least they can just be, at least their home will be clean and chores will be done while they worry about the bills that they can't pay. And while hopefully the government sends out stimulus or something like that. But there's something I do want to talk about, and I want to leave you guys with this. The risk isn't me being wrong. Okay. The real risk is actually me being right, because that's going to be an actual ugly scenario. Everyone's going to lose their jobs. And why not say everybody? If an AI can do your computer job, you're toast. And now you got a robot that can do your physical job. Okay. And you guys said in the comments, like field technicians, I've said barbers. There's going to be a handful that just don't disappear tomorrow. There's going to be that beta phase where robots are going to work alongside with humans. And I'm calling that the beta phase because that's where you train the AI. You're training your replacement. You'll be in the new category called forever unemployed, permanently unemployed. But while everyone thinks that's a doomsday scenario or worst case scenario, that's actually one of the best case scenarios. And hear me out on this. Best case scenario, because you rip the Band-Aid off. Imagine everybody loses their jobs tomorrow. Okay. Government's kicking in. They can't ignore that. There's going to be some sort of stimulus. There's going to be, we got to rein this thing in now. Stimulus, we'll deal with inflation later. Like Powell always says, we have tools in our chest. There's always something. He's got that line that he says. Okay. Think of that, rip the Band-Aid off the moment that a lot of us wish they would have had with interest rates. Just send it to 40. I don't care. 40 for a year, rein this thing back in. Let's get back on the normal train of things. What I do think the more realistic possibility is going to be, and this is a much worse scenario, is, and I said it with Merlin, is they just quit hiring humans. And the average person now works for a couple of years, and then they quit and go find another job. Maybe they work a little bit longer because they can't get another job. So it depends on who you are. Do you quit and then get the job, or do you get the job before you quit? Because if all you do is to avoid bad press, don't lay anybody off, but every opening you have now gets replaced with a humanoid or an AI. Your numbers, they do still go up. Not as fast, but they do go up. And it avoids the, Bud Light and Target scenario. Yes, those were completely different ones, but they got the boycott treatment. So you can avoid the bad PR and just start hiring robots. Now that phases people out. And the phasing people out, if you were one of the first ones to get laid off, it's going to be a while before the government kicks in and helps you out and realizes everybody's permanently unemployed. That's going to suck. The rich will get much richer in that time, and the poorer, well, they'll get poorer, but they'll get ignored. And then more poor will get poorer. The middle class will slip away out of existence there. And I do think that's a much worse scenario. This will be quick, so I'm not going down the AI rabbit hole. I did want to go over that because in the comments, people are like, oh, you're watching too many movies and all that. And I'm like, guys, you need to chill and you need to think about it. Because I think everybody that has any pushback on me, I haven't heard any real pushback. Nothing I can argue in 2 seconds. Um, so anyway, when I'm talking about AI and stuff like that, really think about it. Like, what is the worst case scenario? Because if they took over tomorrow, at least everybody's on the same train. Everybody's hungry. Everybody's looking for a paycheck. Everybody's looking for some means of living. And that problem, like I say, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. That problem gets solved a lot faster. They don't care about one extra person getting poor. I guarantee Bezos doesn't care. Pelosi doesn't care. They're still going to line their pockets and be fine. Everybody gets poor at the same time, and, and that's who's voting for them. They care. Uh, are you thinking that I will be eliminated? 100%. And for the people that say AI is already here, it's because you have no idea what you're talking about. AI is not here. The stock market, all they have is algos and bots. That's nothing. There's still the human factor, which is why the stock market hasn't really changed. Like Merlin said, it will evolve. Bots could get more efficient. They could get better. They could start to, as they learn the human psyche, maybe plan a little bit more around psychology. But the second there is a real artificial general intelligence, you're just 2 weeks out from an actual super intelligence. And at that point, I don't think there's not a world where I see a super intelligence getting involved in this and not completely wiping everything out, because there's no way you can hang with that. Absolutely not a chance. Uh, go buy an island big enough for 50 families. We'll grow our own food. I already had so I'm in Missouri, right? So I'm of equal distance to everybody. We grow corn pretty well out here. Uh, I say it a lot. Come join the compound, but I'm dead serious. You guys, we can all start up our own Amish community. If we just turns out we don't like how this tech turns out, let's go back to making some, rocking chairs. Piece of cake. We're gonna keep the AC. All right. I'm gonna keep the AC. I'm gonna keep the lights on. I have solar, so we're good there. We're not gonna go full blown Stone Age. Um, Probably have to go back to carburetors, or what we'll probably have to do is go back to diesel that runs on literally anything. All right, let's go. I'm a member of the 1%. Corn won't work. That stuff goes right through. um, they may already be walking among us and we don't even know it. That'd be wild. Diesel power. I'm talking like 80s, 90s diesel, that one like F250, F350 that your friend has, that the engine will run while that whole body has rusted and completely deteriorated back to the earth. Like, what'd you pour in there? He's like, I just go to McDonald's and ask for their leftover grease. It runs on that. Why are you frightening your audience? Can you read? Can you read? Uh, I would never yield. I want to work with you. Hopefully I'm not frightening anybody. Why are you scaring? If anybody's getting scared, it's because they're not listening. It's happening regardless. And this will be my last piece on this. When you know something's coming, you can do one of two things, right? You can play the ostrich. You can stick your head in the sand and pretend it's not. It reminds me of like a little 2-year-old when you're playing peekaboo. Like they can't see you, so you can't see them. They're technically hidden. Did that just freeze? Is my camera frozen? Everything's frozen. Apparently, I just played peekaboo with my. There, I'm back. Okay, so where did Don go? Did you guys hear everything, or did my just the video cut? Peekaboo. Anyway, I scared the AI for a second. Can you guys hear me now? Are we live? Are we good? Heard it all? Okay. Again, take the ostrich route. Or we're kind of all on this train, at least seeing what's coming. You get to pick a window seat, an aisle seat. Like, all right, here we go. You can brace for impact. Like if you know the plane's going down, pack a parachute. It shouldn't be scary. It would be much scarier to ignore this. And that's why, getting back to the original conversation of what about the YouTube channels, Don Franz show is just AI, more AI education. Because as middle class goes away, I want everybody on the rich side. Imagine the Hunger Games. Again, I'm not going to work well on the poor side. I can do much better on the rich side. I can help more people on the rich side. If I'm in Elysium, I'm going to send one of those heal things right on down. I'd pack it up and head on back to Earth, healing everybody. I have no worries about sharing. Not in the sand. This doom scrolling get you more attention. I'm not doom scrolling though. This is actually what I really think. Make us top class. I'm hoping everybody. Again, I do hope everybody wins. All right, Bitcoin pushing. Let's get down to off the weekly. Okay, so last time we were talking about as far as Bitcoin goes, it was also consolidating, talking about possibly a lower high, and if it was, kind of making that wedge. Uh, right now, this is the one thing with trend lines. I am going to delete this. We're talking about a bull pennant. But the thing with trend lines is, yes, that trend line broke. Is it still a lower high? Yeah. So technically, that the trend line story still stands. Now, had this been a longer term trend line, especially maybe in the Forex world, maybe it's just bounced. You have like 15 points of contact, and it hits it and it rejects, but kind of just bleeds its way through there. Okay. At that point, maybe you are switching a little bit bullish. So right now, pushed up, pulled over. We might just be headed up. So if the dollar sells off, let's see if it continues. The gain train continues if it breaks 72. I think breaking that, we put in a higher high. It'll probably push to the 78, 80 mark. You're going to attend to the 1%. How many of you guys are part of the 1%? Opinions on EV plays this week. Tesla, Neo, Rivian, bullish. Let's look at them. I am. Oh, congrats. I didn't think that many others would be. All right. Russell. We would have to worry about this zone right here. I don't think we waltz through this zone. This is going to be a tougher one right here. I'm not going over Tesla. Not yet. Gosh, I don't know if I would jump on short this right now. I really don't. In the U.S., it may take you 5.81 million to be in the top 1%. You guys are rocking it. A minimum net worth of 30 million to be considered among the ultra high net worth crowd. Get them. Inflation has me 1% away from broke. Yeah, my fuse is about the top 1% right about now. All right, coming into this zone, again, if you go buying up things coming into a zone like this from the bottom, I can probably tell you're not going to be here in a year. Not to brag, these things are usually they're more right than they are wrong. And again, what we're looking for is areas of attention. So we imagine there might be some sellers in here. Now we might base out. Again, it's not just the level, but it's how we got there, how we interacted. The top 1% in Peru. Gosh, I don't know how I don't know if I would take a trade. I wouldn't short it. The only trade I think there is here is a knife catch to go short. If I'm going long, I would need some further price action. Maybe it hits this type 2 zone, type 2 area, right? Comes back down, bases out right inside here. I can see we find all the sellers in this area and zero follow through. At that point, I can play the continuation long, break above, pull back and test that from the top. I'm long. I would like to go long. I would just want to pull back. Thanks, Don, for all you do for 7 co. I remember 6. I remember 6 co. It's a shame we lost him. Bob, I'm gonna need what type is that a typo or is that something I should know? Am I about to feel really stupid? Thanks for all you do for 7. Is it 7 years? All right. Nasdaq. So opened up, we're going from zone to zone. We're just rocking and rolling. So clearly, whatever Powell said, the market seems to like. I'm not in this, am I? Um, the growth account's probably going to be up on this one because we let our calls expire worthless. So we collected all the money, right? 100% play. Didn't even buy them back, just collected money on them. And now those stocks should be up. Let's go. I just want to make sure I'm in AMD calls. QQQ did expire. One more second. Yeah. All right. We're good. I keep hearing I'm Ted Lasso in trading, and I have no idea if that's a compliment or not. And I think I've even asked that before, and I forgot. This is my alert for a breakout above. Hopefully, it does. Any kind of dip on this, and I would be buying. S&P all-time highs. So again, rally based, rallied up. If it were to pull back and test this zone, the reason I have this in a dotted line is because we actually drew this back here, and then coincidentally ran up in here, based out for that time, and then pushed up. So the reason why I didn't fill that in is because we just didn't have a lot of data right here. Watching the buyers and sellers show up the way they did is why we suspected there would be a zone there. And seeing this breakout above right now kind of leads me to believe that's where we're at. So he says, Happy Easter. Happy Easter. I've been throwing my pocket change into junk silver the last 2 or so years. I reinvested my Doge as well. Most of these. You should be doing pretty well then. I like having a tangible tender. Yeah. Ted Lasso wouldn't call anyone stupid. You're right. So Ted Lasso's a nice guy? Yeah, I have a problem with stupid. It's something I want to get under control. Yeah, I will. All right, we're going to drop down to a 15-minute nothing time frame. Oh, gosh. Please have some buyers there. Looks like this would have been a decent resistance spot. I'm sure there's going to be... Don't you watch those levels? The... Oh, what are the little baby levels? Monsoon, what are they? You know what I'm talking about. Magnet levels. I bet you'll see they line up right around here. Let's make it. Yeah. All right. Save that. Bob. For the community. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. No problem. I genuinely like it. Pivots, that's what they are. Pivot points. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me they're not right in there somewhere. They usually do line up with what I type. All right, NASDAQ looks like we're already in a situation right here. Let's go with that. Ford going up and GM 52-week high. That should be investigated. There's just no way GM should be going that high. Okay, looks like all your sellers. I was trying to find this area right here, but that looks like that's where they're all at. Yeah, we did bounce out of this level. Rejected here, rejected here. So I guess if I'm watching the NASDAQ, that's Again, if you're watching this right now, if you've ever looked at a yellow zone on the 15-minute time frame, it's basically your chart. So these are more intraday, quick little zones. These are definitely not yellow zones. Man. Oh, so we did actually gap up on this one. Right, that's not roll, right? Yeah. We do have to worry about that scenario now. Okay, Winnie the Pooh shows up here, technically here. And that's kind of all we have for some time. When was the last time we were even? Even. Wow. All right. So let's just see where we're at. So that's actually a full blown zone. Gap there, rejected there. I'm going to fine tune that right to there, though. And then we're going to grab that. All right. Okay, do you guys even have me trading trading this? Cody did at least. Post the chart and I was like, man, I would go short. And by I would go short, I mean I just went short. Didn't last long, but it was a decent trade on that one. Chinese PMI just out, shows recovery, probably Hong Kong market rally, and then play Baba, JD, and Neo. Interesting. Okay, we will have to look at that. Let's burn through these real quick, and then I'm gonna pull up Tesla, and Neo. Don't let me forget about either one of those. We'll take a look at them. I don't know how much I really care about EVs. I'm gonna be honest. There's just not any hype around them. You know, there was a trend around it, but you know, I don't know how much that's still here. Ooh, I don't care that we're actually already above this. Where did we show up? Sellers really came in right there. I'm surprised we just. Oh, hang on. Okay, so right where we drew that, we were on the hourly. So we drew that over here. We did actually have our first wick, so we had some sellers in that area, and again, just didn't hang, and then pushed right through that. And I want to say that is all-time highs as well. Gosh, the concerning part is, again, you can't short this market. Well, know your risks, right? This thing has been in such a controlled grind up. This is like singing everybody a lullaby, a little nighttime story. Go to sleep. Don't worry. You know, like something's up. Not the gullible kid just believing it. What's going to suck about this is everybody's going to fall asleep thinking the grind is going to go. Right now, everybody's thinking, oh, the market's going to crash. You know, I'm sure I saw a couple red thumbnails. Maybe it does. I don't worry if they're right. I worry more about them being like coincidentally right. What's going to happen is when everybody falls asleep to markets like this, the red day shows up. It's going to strike like lightning. Don't worry, be happy. Lester's asking, did I look at the US dollar, Japanese yen? Oh, I have. Do you have any questions? Have you looked at the US dollar, Japanese yen? I don't know, say the past week or two? Have you? Huh? He says, I'll rewind at the end. You know what? Because you've been here for a while. Steven, I suppose, already left. I got you, Lester. 1 second. What would you like to know? just hanging out. At this point, I think someone in Japan got roofied. All of them. Like, crowd control, maybe? Can we talk about what were the chemtrails? Okay, chemtrails with a lot of roofling. You're okay in my book. Uh, mocking. I spent a lot of time in the beginning saying this is just really sideways, and I gotta say it doesn't have the best look. Knowing indicators are just cooling off and about to just bounce this thing right here. Looks, I haven't looked. Don't care. The yen is losing bigly. Yeah, but that sucks because they should be, since they're getting out of negative rates, they should be killing it. Uh, yeah. Until this thing moves, I'm not moving. I'm so surprised there's not been a correction this year. Market is too optimistic. Not even close. And not to even like argue or like instantly shut you down. It's an election year. If there was going to be a crash, it would have already happened by now. So the fact that it didn't, and I talked about this last year, if we're going to get correction, crash, a decent pullback, it's going to be in the beginning because now they're going to worry about the election. They got to worry about election, and is somebody going to release some ridiculous AI and screw up all of their already pre-planned cheating? Just kidding. So right now, I think the market's just something that they don't want to be spinning that plate this year. I think they're going to keep this cool, calm, and collected. I doubt there's any events that happen outside of the occasional Fed guy said this and we got a red day. Like that's it. Um, I bet at the end of the year we're gonna lower rates one time, right around November-ish. I don't know whenever that meeting is. We're gonna do one. My opinion is we do one rate cut at the end of the year, uh, and then get the next president all settled into his old folks' home. Good year to sell puts. Yeah, April statistically the strongest month with an average of 8% plus. Now is even election year. Yeah, and that's why I say if you're trying to short this market, it is a knife catch. There might be an argument to maybe hedge. Maybe do you just want to go flat out short? I don't know or care really. Um, but again, I would be careful, and I would be careful you're not playing the roulette game of that gambler's fallacy. You walk up to the roulette table, it's been black the last 8 times, so it's due for a red one, and you just put a stupid amount of money on red. If you think that, go put down your minimum bet. Like, yeah, you win small, lose small. Was it aim small, miss small? Um, but let's say you take that small bet, okay, and it's been green too long. You do it, and then maybe the Fed does kick something off and just sends it. Maybe you do catch a home run, but I wouldn't be just going for straight home runs every day. Hood covered calls gonna be toast. We got a couple more calls to go, or a couple more tickers to go over. Then we'll talk about that because we're in the 18s. We'll have to see. We gave it a week's worth of time just to think about it. So let's get some new data, especially with Powell. Celsius. Now, coincidence? I told you guys Celsius is not healthy for you. Who remembers that conversation in mentorship chat? Right here. It was one of these days. Kapow. As far as that goes, Celsius does look like a zone play right now. I'd say it's a bit up there. If any, like the Fibonacci people are worried from here to here, you're probably looking at a dip by around $70. That's gonna be like your 50-ish. That'd be a decent one. Argument could be made. Your zone could be right here. And it's James too. Are you? It's not a dividend ticker. You like to sell puts. Oh, you're in the 20s? Yeah, you're close one, actually. Dollar needs to die. It does. I'm gonna call Pal and tell him my printer's working. Don't worry about it, buddy. I got you. I would consider selling the 70 puts. Probably aren't worth jack. You know what I would do? I would probably consider selling the 70 puts on this, but since the premium's probably gonna suck for next Friday, bump it out. Give it a couple weeks and bump the premium up that way. Maybe the 72s. That's how I'd handle it. Overall, still looks like a great ticker to sell puts on, and let that be your assignment. Get paid to buy this. If you did it right now, I guess worst case scenario, it keeps going. That is worst case scenario. It just completely melts down. The moderately bad case scenario is you sell some 80s, it gets assigned, pushes to 70. What you don't want to be doing is making any emotional decisions of should I cut it, and that's really just about to be your next higher low. You just don't know it yet. So are you going to weather that storm and collect more up front now, or just collect the what I call children's allowance and avoid jacking with that? All right, SoFi hanging out. What you probably want to see tomorrow for SoFi is this to be a reversal. Still a bunch of lower highs. If it breaks 715, I bet we probably do come on down here again. Because right now, here's your low. We bounced, and anybody bullish right now is thinking bull flag or reversal. They look the same depending on where your bias leads. It'll probably only be one, but I'm thinking bull flag. Stop at 715. 650 puts probably aren't worth anything. The premiums are pretty nice on SoFi. So if you did sell the sevens and got assigned, you could probably dig your way out of that, assuming it holds this bottom zone. So that's what I would be prepared for. Forward. Just gonna let a little more shares go. I don't know if you guys know this. I'm going through an emotional time right now. I've had Ford in my account for a decade, and I sell calls against it. Now, again, I'm going that far into AI. I market sold all my dividend tickers. Ford was it is a dividend ticker, but it was in a different account. My Ford shares are negative. If you want to count cost basis, uh, for every 100 shares of Ford, you could collect $10, $6 a week on it. Might not sound like much, but it snowballs when you take that premium and buy more and just continue to do that. And then you do that for years. But anyway, again, all AI. Still like it. Still love this ticker because it's a dividend ticker, billions of shares float, and it's actually super liquid. So your barrier to entry is next to nothing. This is one of the cheaper tickers you can get in. Options, super liquid, pays a dividend. And so options being liquid means you could collect your own dividend and collect a quarterly dividend. This one checks so many boxes that no one has yet to find me a competitor for. And I've said this a million times. If you guys can bring me a competitor Ford, I'm all ears. Pays a dividend, moves like Ford. Ford's usually pretty nothing. Like not 2021 Ford where it pushed to 30 or something ridiculous. Ford loves these $11, $13 ranges. Like these couple dollar ranges, it just hangs out on for so long. It makes selling calls and everything so easy. But I let a lot go last week at 1230, 1232, 1282. Says I've been doing this. Hope it keeps working. Don gave me his yes in 2021. I told you this is amazing. Uh, if there was anything I wanted people to see in their trading career, it's the snowball that Ford could create. What's a close second to Ford that you've heard of? It's only been things for periods of time. Snapchat was the number two play for a while. It was relatively close to the same cost. Premiums were good, but premiums would also get pretty juiced up because Snap would move around, and social medias would move in that space. So it got significantly more volatile, but that was always a close second that I found. Not now. I think Hood might be. Well, Hood doesn't pay a dividend. See, it's like that there's like an old saying. It's like there's three things. Pick two, and I'll give you that. Ford was the only one was like I'll do all three. Everything else can either pay a dividend or be super options liquid or be cheap. So again, guys, over 6,000 tickers. Maybe there is another one. I'm not saying there's not. I'm just saying I haven't found it. No one in my group has found it. As far as Ford goes right now, if I didn't have any sold calls, I'd be looking to sell the 14s, 1350s if I wanted to cut it close and let fate decide if I'm getting out of them or not. Um, Yeah, looks like we'll be hitting that zone and rejecting. So if you haven't sold any calls, I'd wait for hopefully a Monday morning gap up and then sell the 14s. Or if you really want to keep your shares, wait for the Monday morning gap up, wait for the 1450s to get kind of juiced up, and then pull that back a bit. All right, Google. McLevin, I will. I'm not going to chart them out because I do have to get going. But I'm going to pull them up and give all the prices. And if anybody has my charts, I will update those later. So these white lines, I will move these around later, and they will be your expected moves. Someone's going to not pay attention to think that's it. Does Google have earnings today? It's going to be great. Steven, Google does not have earnings today. Are you here? Is he here? I think he left. All right, Google. So if it's maybe you're new here, I absolutely hate this pattern. The wedge, descending wedge, ascending wedge. It's every time like it could break up and someone's like, told you so. It could break down, like that's how it's played. It could just go sideways and someone's always like, that's exactly how it's played. Out of all like indicator shapes, anything you learned when you were a toddler, that one is like right next to Elliott and all their excuses. Elliott wave just says like, oh, it was this time frame. Oh, it was making a wave in this time frame. Did you see the 4.5 minute chart? Making a wave over there. That's why your hourly didn't work. There's like always an excuse. So I can't stand it. But technically speaking, it was kind of drawing that ascending wedge, hitting a zone. So just if there's a batch of sellers playing that wedge and you have zone traders right here, how many others are thinking this is overbought, want to go short? Google's been on a crazy run. Gosh, hopefully with the market, this thing with the Nasdaq pushing up, it does. You have to just contend with this zone. If you're in my group, a lot of us are in Google Leaps. Coincidence? Oh, we didn't buy it up here or here. We bought it over here. Somewhere it was red at the beginning. Don't get me wrong. We didn't just nail it right here, but they are up. Did you change your channel name? Depends on which channel you're on right now. NASCAR All Out. Which channel you're on? I'm on 2 channels right now. Simulcasting. Your Google shares got assigned. As in you sold puts or you sold calls? I do still have the Google Leap Tesla or Lisa. I've called Lisa Lori probably 102,000 times. I've never called her Tesla before though. Power Zone Trading. Okay, yeah. Yeah, this is the channel that Brad and I were doing together. And I just went on this rant earlier if you want to rewind and listen to the why. But 100% without a doubt, Don Fron Trading, the other channel I'm streaming to right now, we'll have every video on here. This channel depends on, I don't know if Brad's ever going to be here again. I don't know if this phases out. I don't know. Lori's Tesla. There you go. Monsoon says one version is good, fast, and cheap. Any two, but never all three. If you want good and fast, it won't be cheap. If you want something good and cheap, it won't be fast. If you want something fast and cheap, it won't be good. Yeah, Ford was like, hold my beer. You want liquid? Okay. Dividend? Okay. Doesn't move as much? Got you. Don Fron 2. AI. A way better trader. Now, I will say the fake me that's running around, man, actually all 112 of them, they do phenomenal. If Steven was here, he should reach out to the fake me. Yeah, that guy's rocking 90, 120K a day, depending on the DM you get. I'm thinking 120 is normal. 90's when he's being modest. You might toss him a Bitcoin or two. So while I've been talking, I've been staring at this, and I don't know if there is an answer. Hopefully, if the Nasdaq holds, this will gap up. So if there's a gap fill play, tomorrow morning it gaps up, pulls back, fills that gap. Maybe that would be your dip buy. If you had any calls sold and that were to happen, if that were to push it green, maybe you could take advantage of that. If you don't have any calls sold and it gaps up in the morning, go to your 1.5 standard deviation is what I would do. That's a lot of math. Don Fron 2 can do it. Man. He blocks me. I don't know why. I've been trying to reach out. He doesn't want to talk to me. All right. Told you guys in the beginning I was in QQQ calls. They're out. They expired last Friday. And I'm in AMD calls. And it's looking a whole lot like the US dollar Japanese yen. Now, whether you're a bullish or bearish AMD, the break, there's kind of like a line in the sand right here. And we just barely got above that and turned right around. So let's see if this was retail week. Maybe just not a lot of market participation. Maybe AMD does wake up. It's got to be a bullish above, bearish below. With the NASDAQ as green it is right now, that should gap up in the morning. So it's going to be all about, does this move actually hold? Need to be good. All right, Cody, we did go over that. Did I not give a trading answer? I'd be long that zone. If it pulled back into that zone, I would probably have a limit buy there at the stop loss right below these green wicks right there. As in, I would do that. Put that order up right now. I'm not telling you to. You do whatever you want. That's what I'd be thinking. All right, as far as Hood goes. Okay, so if you guys saw the video, I still need a couple. I need a few more. Robinhood has a credit card now for the Robinhood Gold members only. Gold, I think it's either $5 or $7 a month. It's where you get your perks. There's an IRA match. There's a deposit match. So like depositing into your trading account, there's a 1% match. So every $100 in there, they put in $1. It's free money. So that there's a lot of ways to make up that $5 really fast. But again, then just Robinhood just collecting the credit card fees. Good. Fundamentally speaking, a lot of bullish things for it. But we had bought shares in the growth account and sold the 18 strike calls, and we've done that a couple of weeks now. But then it shot up on that news. It's like, great. So again, technically we sold down here. Now we still made money. I sold an additional. Again, all they did was roll it. Because we had sold off, and I was like, man, we didn't really, here's the move, here's the announcement, right? Gapped up, sold back off, and I was curious, like, are we holding this move or what? And then Thursday we did nothing. So I'm like, nah. So before I let my shares get called away at 18, before I make any rash decisions, I sold the 18 strike. So I rolled it, bought back the 18, sold the 18 for the next week, collected $12. So I got paid to sell it at $18 a share. Hopefully it pulls back, and you're good. You sold the 20 strike for James. You called that out. You're in a lot better position. It's $7 for Robinhood Gold. Boss Don, what's up, man? He says it's worth its weight in gold. It physically will be worth its weight in gold because if I do get 10 referrals, my credit card, so they're all like gold. They look gold, but only for the first few. If I get 10 referrals to sign up, then mine actually is real gold. I'm going to frame it because I'm never going to have a YouTube gold plaque. So I'd like the closest thing I could do. Would you do Hood for the long-term portfolio? Yes. Allocation-wise, not a lot. It would be a speculative play. Yeah, I do actually. I like Hood. I even like Coinbase. But my allocation towards them, I'm still gonna be able to pay rent. I'll put it that way if it goes to zero. James has been rolling the 20 covered calls for a couple weeks. Was slow on agreeing with the growth play. Well, that paid out. Buy Hood. Depend on your plan. Do you want to just buy Hood for what? What do you do with it? What's your time? Your time frame needs to match your trade. We talking years. Fundamentals are going to come into play. You want to swing trade it for today, the next day, a week or two. Technicals. Let's see what kind of hype we get. It's going to be all about management. But I like it. And now one of the bigger reasons I like it was breaking above this zone right here. I thought getting above that, we might just be kicking this thing off. So that's I wanted to see if this would turn more into a momentum play, and then I thought, "Holy cow, we're going for it. There's the excuse. That's what we needed." And we didn't really again, we didn't do much. We didn't give the move up, but we didn't just full-blown send this and show up on Warrior Trading's YouTube channel. Uh, so I am more worried about the $23 mark. We'll see what Monday brings. I'll tell you this, as far as the rolling goes, the growth account, this might be our first L because I'm going to end up rolling that strike up and out. So to buy it back, to close, I'm going to buy it back for higher. I'm going to collect a premium while doing that. My hands are off screen. I was doing that. Just trust me. But technically that will be an L on that one. And I'm going to move the strike up. I don't want the shares to go anywhere. And I thought about flat out just buying it back to close, but I think I'm just going to roll it up. We'll see what we open up at. Roll it up, maybe a standard deviation. So at least it's not a full-blown L. I collect a little bit of money. But there will be some sort of management on that tomorrow. I said that last week, but because we did this, I ended up just rolling it. Like, let's just wait and see what it does because we didn't get much confirmation either way. And if it was going to tank, I didn't want to take that L, and then all of a sudden the 18s expire worthless. All right, so Neo, China market thinks they're doing good now. Remember that one time Neo was supposed to go to $75? If you're new here, I didn't say that. But somebody did at the absolute peak. Never got there. I should ask him. I should have clarified. When? Was that in a 2023? 2022? 2032? What are we talking about? I don't have a recollection of the QQQ play in the growth count. It's not. Growth count doesn't have enough to be taken on that kind of risk just yet. We'll turn it on here in a little bit. I want to get the count a little bit higher. As far as Neo goes, gosh, this thing's doing a great job just selling off. Hopefully the China market does pick up and turn this ship around. As it stands, I personally don't buy puts on this. Your best case scenario goes down $4. Like, all right, you want it to move $4. If that's all the movement you want, it would cost a little more capital, but these tickers would cover that in 15 minutes. What this thing would do over time. If I was bullish, I would probably consider selling the $4 strike puts. I would probably do that kind of like how I'm playing Tesla. Tesla, I've been selling the 160s. If you guys don't know about that, just watch my Tesla video. I think it's even a red thumbnail, Tesla sell-off. I'm going to sell the 160s until I get assigned or until someone quits paying me for them. I'm going to collect money every week. And that's it. I like the 160 mark for Tesla. If it breaks below that, that's not all my capital, by the way. If it breaks below that, I'm going to sell the 140s, probably somewhere again around the 120s. But if we start breaking below that, I'm going to probably let the selling stop because at that point I'll have quite a bit more shares going down. I don't like that. Bounce, play, and squeeze. Hopefully. I would want it. So if Tesla were to show up on like a gap up, Neo, if Neo all of a sudden gapped up, 20% pre-market, I would probably take a squeeze play just because the popularity of Neo. People know Neo. When people know that ticker, it's a little more comfortable. When that thing's gapping up 20% versus some random four letters no one's ever heard of. If there's a momentum style play in Neo, I would take it. It's liquid, so I can play the in and out game with that one. All right, so Tesla, ever since I made that video, I've sold the 160s. I bumped up to 160.250, back on the 160s. But we just kind of went from down here up to that zone, rejected. If you're bullish, you really don't want to break in the 173. That being said, if Tesla is up, I am looking to grab some puts. I do want to be short it before deliveries come out. Hopefully they didn't come out this weekend. I got to check that. I don't think Tesla's going to meet deliveries, and I don't think the fear-mongering's stopping. So I want to actively go short. While that will be in my trading account, hopefully it goes to the moon, I almost have to take that just because of my Tesla position in my investment account. and I think there's an opportunity to take advantage of it. So I give you that disclaimer because there's going to be a lot of I'm buying Tesla and I'm also short Tesla, and that can confuse, especially the people that maybe stick around for a few minutes and don't actually listen to all of this. Then they don't get it. Um, as far as an EV sector play, oh, Rivian better go to 50. Okay, so I'm in Rivian, and I've been selling the 11 strike calls. Okay, I was like, I saw the 1102, and I was like, no, I should still have my shares. So more free money. Please don't break down. So I'm in Rivian like I was Ford until this bottom zone breaks. If Rivian starts to push his way up, I'll stay out. I'll hang out. I'll keep collecting the free money. If it breaks this, I'm out. I do like Rivian. Um, and the reason I talked about this a few videos ago, I like Rivian for they again Amazon and Ford gave them some money, and the thing is, Amazon and Ford already wrote them off. They wrote they did it in a few years ago. Taxes like it sucks. It was a dud. But Rivian made it through the EV startup phase, where there was just a million of them, kind of like the dot-com bubble. Rivian made it through there. They announced more vehicles, and I still think they've developed some pretty decent relationships. So as far as borrowing information or, it's not quite just out with the wolves, sharks. There's a saying around there. I think they could pull through. That's a fundamentals speech right now. As it stands right now, it's doing a phenomenal job selling off. Right, the gap down on the earnings gave it their all, and then right back down. So Rivian overall is a pretty easy play, and by easy play, I mean it takes about 3 brain cells to trade this one. You are bullish above this zone, bearish below this zone. If you want to make up your mind right now, you got that 50-50 shot of which one it breaks up. So if you're going to front run that risk and make your decision now, your stops should be below here and above here. But again, this is something I collect weekly premium on until it does break below. Hang on. You long, super short. What do you mean it's super short? Okay, so these are a couple of the submit plays inside my group. Okay, so Apple long. I've talked about this quite a bit. So this is a pretty a pretty quick one. I like this level at Apple. If this level breaks, it's, I don't want to say concerning, but going for a ride. If this level breaks, I do think we're probably going to hop on down here. It's got the lawsuit or whatever. They typically do, and every time a politician missed out on a run, they're like, oh crap, it's a monopoly, it's an antitrust. It's usually Google and Meta. But when they do that, so far every one of them has been a buy the dip scenario. You just got to figure out which politician forgot to get in. It's like a fun little game of guess who. Was he wearing glasses? Is it a he? Just knocking down the politicians' pictures. Is your character Pelosi? All right, now we're in. Oh, I guess I shouldn't have said he. That was not calling her a man by any means. So that being said, the case hasn't been dropped yet. The day it does get dropped, if you want to wait to buy Apple, the day that case gets dropped, it'll be a green day and likely some follow through. So it's not even one you'll be chasing on later, I don't think. You're front running the risk. It's doing a good job selling off. And if it does break that level, it's done it a couple times and then came right back up. So you delete all these buyers right here. I think we're hopping down. Apple could wake up. The top voted one was this one. We got a little laser show going on. Super green, super red, knife catch. Okay, bear flag or reversal, Unity software. And this zone right here, solid. Man, I'm taking this play. This is why I like my group, because it's not just a follow the leader. He has the same lines as I do, but it's a coincidence. But I do like this play. Again, 3 brain cells. My stop. So this is the play I'm going to take tomorrow. I'll tell you guys right now. I'm going to buy it pre-market. Markets for me open up at 7 a.m. and I put my stop at 24.85. My take profit will be here. I don't really care about take profits because I will just trail it. So I'll trail it, could tag out. There's a speed bump zone hanging out right inside here. That's going to probably catch some people up. Don't worry about management inside there. And if we get to this, I'll have, so as we bump up into here, I'll have my stop down here. If it breaks up, again, stop down here. If that base is out, I would actually add on taking another play. Let's say we run up into that zone. Hang on, let's go paintbrush. Where's that? Let's say this is the play right there. At that point, I'm going to add on right here. Now I'll buy 1,000 shares. I'm not going to rock 1,000 up, 2,000 down. Hopefully in this, when it bases out like this, usually there's a wick or two that tells me where to put my stop. But I like the 85-cent mark, so it'll be 31.85, and we're thinking, boom, 1,000 shares, 2,000 shares, and continue. That would be a picture-perfect play, and that's why I said I don't really care about take profits. The reason I have a take profit out there is, let's say I got 6 trades that all my alerts just went off. One take profit is here, the other one's here, one's way up here. I know which one I'm putting my allocation on. But the one thing I'm not going to do is think, someone told me I should have a 57-to-1 trade. That's their win trade. And if it doesn't have that, I shouldn't take it. So you're just doing this. 57-to-1. Yep, looks good. And ignoring everything in here. It's like, to do that, they would have to cure cancer. And you're like, no, it's a 57-to-1 trade. Anyway. Again, 3 brain cells. It holds this support or it doesn't. And if it breaks this, it can do it with someone else's money, not mine. Someone else can watch their money disappear and go on Twitter and talk about how bullish it is and why everyone else is wrong. Fantastic. I'll be out of it. Own Unity. Arc is loading regularly. Okay. Oleg, which channel are you on? Are you on Power Zone Trading or Don Fron Trading? I like your comments. And I'm pretty sure I need you on both channels, just in case. It's a difference, Steve. I'm glad to see you're here, Steve. We lost another one. Another Steven. Zone Trading? Okay. Can you do me a huge solid and go to Don Fron Trading as well? Let's see, 57-to-1. Let's go to the moon. They're the best trades. Anyway, so as far as that goes, shout out to my group because I'm going to take that play. So not in the growth account. This is a knife catch. So the growth account, if you guys are new, something I started from 0, we're growing it up. And a lot of people really, in my opinion, have it backwards. When they have a smaller account, they're going after 0 days to expiration. They're going after the more volatile stuff. It's cheaper and it pays out big, and that's cool. So does a scratcher's ticket and a lottery ticket. But most of the time they lose. And so I'm doing this kind of show off. Trade with what your account can actually afford. Yeah, I can afford to buy some dumb stuff. But can I really? Because then you're back down to 0. Got to get your little coin purse and put it back in there and pull the next lever and hoping that's a winner. So right now, I just can't really do the knife catches like this. Tempting, but this will just be my main account. Would I buy at the money calls or a higher strike? If I'm buying calls, it's always at the money. I like at the money. And a couple weeks out, that's typically where I'm buying. If I'm buying options to go long, whether it's long puts, long calls, I'm usually at the money. I might be a 2 boxes out of the shaded area, which is still basically at the money. Everyone's got their own rule on that. 26.70, I'm probably buying the 27 strike. Technically, it's out of the money, but I'm not buying the 30. And congrats to, I call those Instagram plays because someone will copy this, right? So now I'm going to buy shares at 7 in the morning because I'll have enough that if it does pop up, I will sell calls on it. I don't mind being in this for a while. When it's at a support like this, I don't mind loading up on shares. I might sell some puts. There's a lot of ways to play this. The bell rings right here. I'll buy the 27s. Some people might buy the 32s, and they'll spend $1. I'll spend $150. Now I'll be up 8x. They'll be on Instagram talking about how they knew this play was coming, and they're up 42,000%. It is a phenomenal trade. Don't get me wrong. Percentage-wise, it's awesome. But I'm usually selling options to those people, and they are what filled my account, typically. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys. Happy Easter. You'll see me again for sure on Tuesday. I might toss in another extra one tomorrow, just cause. Anyway, have a good one, guys. Happy Easter. See you tomorrow.